Welcome in. Look who it is. It's another edition of My World with the real Double J, Jeff Jarrett, and I'm your host, Clone Rad Thompson. How are you, sir?
I don't even know how we're going to get started today. Folks, me and Casio have been laughing for the last half hour, so we're going to let you join in on the party. Oh, Casio, it sure is good to see your face. I know it wasn't the traditional opening, and old Connie just flapping his big jaws. Couldn't do it without the Hall of Famer himself. That's right, your friend and mine, the greatest, all of his BS nonsense. But the coward is not here. It is Monday, December the 9th, 5:05 Central Standard Time. We record this. I know folks we're going to be dropping this on a Tuesday, nice and early, and folks listening to it at work and play and all hours of the day and evening and all continents and all that. But we're recording it on a Monday afternoon, and there ain't nary a sight to old Connie.
Well, let's just get out of the way. It's because he's pouting.
Oh my God, is he pouting? Now, let me ask you, this is a personal thing.
Oh, eliminated. Oh, Bama putting the big A and eliminated. Woo!
Yeah, for all you audio only listeners along, our crackpot producer, Mr. Dave Silva, threw up the Alabama logo, but in the A of eliminated is the Crimson Tide big A. YouTube fans have enjoyed that as soon as you popped it up. But I got to ask you something, Casio.
Yeah.
Would you consider Conrad? It's my understanding. Look, he's one of my best friends. But as far as like being, as the kids say, I've got daughters, besties. It's you and Connie, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
I mean, y'all go way back, tight, all that kind of stuff. Has he always been a coward like this? I mean, his team gets eliminated.
Well, look, I mean, he just didn't show up, kind of like Bama didn't show up in Oklahoma or the playoff bracket. You know what I mean? Or Vandy. Either one. He's just not showing up. He's kind of like me when my diabetes sets in. I'm going to lose a foot. They're left out. You know what I mean? That's going to be me. They're taking the left out when the diabetes sits in.
Oh my God. See, folks, you're going to be able to laugh for the next 90 minutes, me and Casio. But
my favorite is I started a group. I knew what was going to happen. And I started a group text with him, with Conrad, his dad, and their buddy coworker, John, who you've met, John. Oh, and I did a group text 5 minutes before the show started. I said, is Bama getting in or not? And they all were like, no, I don't think so. They were playing it cool.
Yeah, of course.
And then when SMU gets dropped and Bama's out, hey, the text messages blew up. This is a sham. This is ridiculous. You've ruined college football.
Oh, the memes going around. Oh, Connie. So can you just kind of paraphrase one of Big Lair, like Lair's text, or is it not suitable for?
Well, yeah, I was about to say, you know, Big Lair. That means there's going to be some words I can't say. I could, but it'd be definitely not only the last guest host, but maybe the last My World pod. Let me, because they were. Well, the last one was just well, damn. That was the last one I got from Conrad. Larry, Mr. Thompson said, you know, they tired of Bama being there every year. Oh. So now it's biased.
Yeah, victim mentality.
They're going back and forth. A lot of BS.
Yeah, of course. Well, Cassie, my man, you're making history today.
What's that?
You're making history today.
Why is that?
Well, you are the very first. I'm almost a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm very comfortable with you driving the car today. The first ever co-host. Conrad's done every single episode. We've done.
Is that right?
We've done some ad-free bonus shows, yeah, all that kind of stuff. But we've never give the keys to the car to Casio, so we're in trouble, folks.
Well, I didn't
buckle up. Just buckle up.
I didn't. When it was a possibility, I didn't think it was happening because I mean, the last time I saw you, I slapped you on the ground.
That's not true. That is so false.
What's that?
That there was that. Look, Casio, I literally, well, first off, y'all took advantage of me playing video games. The commentary that you and Conrad had with the mics off, there was a lot of, bless his heart, he really doesn't know how to play video games.
I'll tell you this: you're getting left out of the bracket. Your skills were not where they needed to be.
Yeah, I'm definitely out of that bracket. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy!
Yeah, Coach Rosie said I just now stopped running after I slapped you in Chicago. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach Rosie. Good to see you this afternoon. Basketball season has cranked up, and in the live chat today, we're going to be taking some questions and having a lot of fun. And
are you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I got sidetracked. I'm just excited. I'm excited about the football. Are you excited about Tennessee getting in?
I am, but I will say this: out of the entire 12-team brackets and how we've got the toughest road to the championship, so they're biased. The haters are going to come out full force. Ohio State, they're a good team, and I think Coach Day at Ohio State, candidly, is fighting for his job. I think the incentive on the Ohio State side of the ball is at a premium in more ways. Taking the L from Michigan right there at the end of the year, that is an ugly, ugly feeling. And if they're going to be highly incentivized to have a good showing. So, Coach Rosie, if you're in front of me right now, I would smack the taste right out of your mouth. I don't want to hear it. Excuses already. I'm laying out facts. I'm absolutely laying out facts. But I'm still going to go Big Orange is going to march all the way.
It's at Ohio State, right? They get a home game. Ohio State does. Woo! Oh, there we go. Clemson, Texas, Tennessee, Ohio State, SMU, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame. Woo!
I heard something today, Casio, on I probably saw it on X, but they talked about that the hottest property in the next 5 to 7 years is going to be college football. That they think, they think the money and there's more games and all this. I don't see how they're ever going to take over the NFL. NFL is so strong, but they're talking about it's going to be super strong and lots of money behind it and huge fan bases. And there's a lot more than, what are there, 32 NFL teams? So 32. And I don't know. It's interesting, but college football is red hot.
I think it'll take some getting used to for us old heads, but I think the younger generation, the 30 and under, the 20s for sure, this is their college football. They want all this. They don't worry, there's no, the way it used to be,
nope.
It was better the way, this is how it is. And they're going to get 12 teams in a playoff, and this is the future we just got to deal with. Of course, Saban already asking for a 30-team playoff because Alabama gets left out once. But it's hot. It is hot. And I think, people can complain about it, but guess what? Usually it's 4 teams, and there may be a 5th or 6th team where they're going, we got left out. There was 20 teams that thought we actually have a chance going into this last weekend.
It's always going to be that.
Yeah.
That's why. Oh man, we're going to get into a rabbit hole, and I wish Conrad was here to hear all this, but it's hard to really argue. Yes, Alabama, I'm defending Old County's team. Them getting beat by Oklahoma that late in the year killed them. But at the end of the day, their wins are their wins. They're strong. Dabo had a good speech. Lane Kiffin had a good speech. There's a couple of college coaches that just said, hey man, the system, it's not equal. Strength of schedule, does that really matter? It obviously on some levels doesn't, but I don't know. We're sitting here talking about it. That's exactly what they want. NFL wants us with their parity, NFL parity. There's 5 teams on AFC, 5 teams on the NFC, 6 teams, maybe even 7 teams. They all think they got a shot at going to the Super Bowl. That's
That's
half.
what keeps everybody watching.
That's half the league that thinks they are going to get to the Super Bowl. So it's all good, my man. It's all good.
Yep. How about this? Don't have 3 losses and you don't have to question it. You can just coast on in and score a touchdown versus Oklahoma. That might help. Just score a touchdown. I mean, you didn't even score a touchdown, Alabama.
Oh, that is. Can you?
Huh?
I don't. Oh, exactly. I mean, it's indefensible. How would you like to be old DeBoer yesterday afternoon?
Incredible. Well, I think he's a good coach. I mean, we're also sitting here like he went 6-6. He's 9-3. Win a bowl game. He's a 10-win season in his first year, and we're like, this is stupid. Send him back to the Pacific Coast. 10-3 possibility. That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's the world we live in. That is the world we live in. So,
all right, with also the world we live in is wrestling and my world with Jeff Jarrett. Are you ready for some questions from the people?
Look, we give old Connie hard enough time. What I want to know is, were you on YouTube this morning? Oh no, your day job kept you busy this morning, right? Did you get to see our old pal this morning?
I've seen everybody's seen it and tagged me in it. Look at him getting the spotlight. First of all, let's talk to him about his. Well, do we have that beautiful bean footage? Do we want to see it and then analyze what's happening? This was big.
It was, all kidding aside. I could not be more personally happy for my man. I'll let you drive it because I don't know how you want to announce this, steer this to the My World listeners, but it's a big day, huge day. Matter of fact.
Silva, let's let him do the talking, and then we'll see what happens. We'll converse about it afterwards.
And before we get started, let's talk a little about some of the events before we get started. Let's bring back the original co-host of our first ever ticket on sale event, my good friend and Tony, your podcast co-host. Tony, why don't you bring him out?
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the podfather himself, the one and only Conrad Thompson. Yeah. Thank you, Tony Khan.
How's it going, everybody? Are we excited for All In Texas? Tony, this is an exciting day, man. Tickets are on sale today for All In. How pumped are you?
I'm pumped. I'm telling you, this has been the event that fans have looked forward each and every year. And Conrad, you and I have worked together for many years.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Right. And you not only do podcasting, but you also have brought to the fans more than just wrestling. You've brought to the fans the event called Starcast.
That's right. Yes, sir. And Starcast was really created to support the original All In, Tony.
Right.
We wanted to find a way to take that super show, but this dream and the idea and the ambitious goal of selling 10,000 tickets, Tony, at the time felt unfathomable. Who would have thought just a few years later it'd be the most ticketed event ever?
Right.
And now All In is back in America, right here in Arlington. And I'm proud to announce right here today, Tony, that All In is now a week. It is going to be a destination. Starcast is coming back to All In right here in Arlington.
That's right.
How about that, Tony?
And that's right. You are going to be able to meet many of the stars throughout the decades in pro wrestling. Some of your favorite stars currently, some of your favorite stars in the past, right?
That's exactly right. It's all about nostalgia. This is about a celebration, a love letter for wrestling fans. A friend of mine once called it the Woodstock of wrestling, something for everybody, multiple generations, the favorite Hall of Famers, the favorite legends, and the stars of the day, and also interactive experiences you can't do anywhere else, Tony.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And just kind of the setup on that, we just played a video clip this morning in the DFW area, Dallas-Fort Worth, actually specifically in Arlington, Texas. My man was at the AEW press conference as the general on sale started this morning at 10 a.m. local time. That'd be Central Time. And old Connie with Tony Schiavone, Tony Khan, man, who's who, Swerve, Bobby Lashley, Darby Allin, Thunder Rosa, Mercedes Moné, Bryan Danielson, and the man, they call Sting was there to kick things off, and Conrad was there, and I'll just say he stole the show. But no, the announcement he made as a kind of a kickoff party this morning they had for actual tickets go on sale to the general public. And man, I kind of got goosebumps for old Conrad because I was there at the very first Starcast and all the stuff that went with that and all kinds of stuff. Obviously, the Ric Flair last match and that Starcast weekend will always be very, very special. But yeah, it was pretty damn cool to see the announcement made. And I always love that line, a love letter to professional wrestling. And Conrad and team, and I'm lucky to have been a part of it through the years. And yeah, Casio, it's really to me. And I think that was Conrad or maybe Shivani, and they just kind of talked about the history of All In, how it started in Chicago, the 2 years in London, and as things have kind of transpired out, All In coming to Globe Life Field, where the Texas Rangers, the 2023 World Series champion. But yeah, man, Starcast is coming next July 2025, and it's going to be a big one. So very, very excited. And I know details are coming, and I got texts all day. Hey man, what's the on sale, and what is the true information and all that? And I said, don't you worry, Conrad, and his very core of himself is a incredible marketer. He will message it out and get things going. And whether it's the Starcast social media outlets or the website, or don't worry, it's coming. But I'm happy for all involved.
Yeah, it not only speaks volumes for All In and AEW of where it's been and where it's going. Now moving out, like you said, Wembley, and now getting the cool vibe at Arlington. This is going to be an incredible venue, fun city, destination city, easy for everybody to get to. Everybody that's listening or watching's got a flight to Dallas, so it's easy. And now with Starcast being involved with it, personally getting to see that from a conversation of, Connie and his what ifs, hypothetically. What if that was a convention, and to see what it turned into? Again, it is a love letter because it speaks to his love. Yes, there's a lot of people involved, but where this came from is his love and passion for pro wrestling and wanting to put on the best events and wanting to, what do the people want? What does he want as a fan if he was going? Because he was going to the conventions, and to see what it's blossomed into every single year, you think, well, that was crazy. Nothing like that can happen. Every single year, something new pops up, crazy. And I liked what he said as well. Very interactive, one-of-a-kind stage shows, pairings on stage that you'll never even imagine you would see, whether it's people from the past. I mean, think about the people we've put together that hadn't seen each other in decades on stage, and to hear them tell their stories and behind the scenes, and everybody there getting to ask all the questions they've ever wanted. So just an incredible event. Excited. Can't look forward to it. Never missed the Starcast. Don't plan on missing one either. So super excited for July. It's going to be a huge, huge week. It is. It's a destination. Mark the calendars now.
Buddy, and I have, Texas is near and dear to my heart for sure, going back to the Sportatorium days. But, maybe there's a guitar shot for you in your future. Maybe Karen got your jaws off. Texas Live, a couple of weeks ago, we did the literally to the VIP packages, the kickoff party at Texas Live, and what a blast that was. We did a Dynamite watch along, and a lot of great things came out of that. So I'm excited for it. As things have gone on, and Cassie, we'll get into these questions in a minute. It's going to be a special episode, being that Connie, tucked his tail, but we're going to do a lot of fun with Ask Jeff Anything. But when I broke in, there was no such thing as a WrestleCon or a WrestleCade. And shout out to those guys, Michael Bakikio over at WrestleCon. They put on conventions that are very, very cool. WrestleCade, been a part of those guys, Tracy and Brian for years. But Starcast they each have their own unique personality, and those stage shows interactive. And who knows? Maybe we'll get a roast in here, Casio, on one. It'll be a couple of days and interactive. And Conrad, we were texting last night and throwing around different ideas. And so, man, I think this is going to be a special one. So I'm excited.
Well, also coming up, speaking of AEW, winter is coming this Wednesday night. Kansas City, Missouri, baby. How about a lineup? Cole versus O'Reilly, Claudio versus Ospreay, May versus Skirakawa, Mox and Pac versus Cassidy and White, and Ricochet versus King. What a lineup for a brand new AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming, man. That's a killer lineup for Wednesday night.
Years ago, how many years ago was this? Man, I'm going to get all my stats wrong, but I remember the very first time I saw the graphic for Winter is Coming and just kind of naming of a Dynamite. And we've had a run of good Winter is Coming, but with the Continental Classic wide open, what is that? I think there's, what is it, Silva? 2 Continental Classic matches on Wednesday. Yeah, I think there's 2, maybe 2. And those are, as the kids call them, bangers. So, it'll be a hell of a show. Kansas City is, the old Geigel territory. Lots of history in that area, in that market, in professional wrestling. So, yeah, man, Dynamite rolls along. AEWTix.com.
Before we proceed, don't forget, holidays are coming up. And we want you to be a part of the ad-free shows. If you're looking for that perfect gift for the wrestling fan in your life, give them the gift of ad-free shows this Christmas. With the click of a button, you can now gift a friend or family member an ad-free shows subscription. How about that?
Yeah, man. Oh, man. I see it on all the social media accounts, and I go, for the wrestling fan, that is
unbelievable.
It is the stocking stuffer. So,
everybody that's a part of it, I mean, everybody that's watching us can attest. You can't even keep up with all the content. There's no way to catch up.
No,
which is a good thing. It's like you're streaming everywhere else. You're just like, I don't have it. You're overloaded, and that's a good thing with incredible content. So make that gift to your friends and family.
I know you're a busy person, but have you called any, what do we call it? Memphis Memories, Downtown Bruno? That guy.
I haven't seen the Downtown Bruno yet.
Yeah, as you said, there's too much. My man Sam Adonis. No, it's all good, but there is oh gosh.
Special shout out to my 2 referees, Kyoto and Nick Patrick, that I rotate.
Here we go.
Huh? What?
No, I love those guys.
You got Road Dogg fired, so I lost that show. So now I'm just down to that and Lash LaRue. Thanks, man.
Hey,
and Godfather. I got Godfather. Did you ever run with a Godfather?
Oh, Soul Taker started in Memphis. No, did I ride?
He did do a lot in Memphis. Yeah,
started here. Yeah, he literally started here. Well, hold on. So as we do My World every week, and Conrad from time to time will bring bits from other pods. The story, and I had heard that just kind of broken down, but man, y'all got into like the nitty gritty, how he literally got his start down here in Memphis, but he didn't go to wrestling school. He stayed in his apartment all day, right? And slept and went to the clubs.
They put the strap on him. He's like, I don't know. This wrestling thing's kind of cool. Just amazing.
Lawler and my dad, right? Made him champion.
Incredible.
It's so impressive. And Lawler, especially in those days, Lawler could take a big guy with very little experience. If he could throw a punch just decent, Lawler could sell it. And anyway, those were old times. But yeah,
he said he said he went down there to learn and do some things, and he said Lawler said they're going to put the belt on you, and he's like, what? He goes, man, just all I need you to do is be big. And he's like, all right, you do the monster, and I'll be the king, and we'll make some money.
He looks so damn impressive too. I remember I was young in the business, really young, but yeah, that's where him and Mean Mark Calloway.
They're boys.
That's where they met here in Memphis. So yeah.
Is there something I can bring up that he will click? That maybe I can throw him an old Double J story.
Oh, after we go off the air, I'll do one.
Okay, that's a bet. That's a bet. Yeah, I found talking to everybody a lot of stories that people have with the Godfather. They always go, "I'll tell you off air." And a lot of them, he'll go, yeah, I can't tell you who's involved in that. They're still in the business, so I'll wait. Okay.
I love the guy. He is, man, I'm telling you, Charlie's a good dude, man.
Teddy bear. He's a teddy bear.
His heart is, he is a good man. To this day, when I see him, give him a big hug. And it's one of those guys, you know, when you go that far back, 1990, if you will, 89. I mean, just, you know, we were all so young, and God, I weighed 170 pounds or what, 80. I mean, but he was a big ass dude. But I just remember him coming in and didn't know much about him. And Lawler was like, all right, I can draw money with this guy. And sure enough, he just looked the part and caught on pretty quick. And next thing you know, he's in the WWF at the time as Papa Shango. It's like, did he go from Memphis to the WWF? Did he have a stop anywhere?
I think so. I don't think there was many, if so.
No, I think it was pretty quick. And he's got that kind of crazy gimmick, but I'm just like, he was just in Evansville making $40 a night. Now he's main eventing WrestleMania with the Warrior. Yeah, or whatever it was.
I not to get too deep in the woods on Godfather, but you need to check it out. Pod Ain't Easy with myself and Godfather once a month here on ad-free shows. But I do find it hilarious that as many people as bust their ass in this business, that he says multiple times they would give him the strap because he was about to quit. And Vince would go, if I give him the title, he won't quit and walk away. And he'd go, why'd you give me the title? I'm trying to leave. I just want to go ride my motorcycle. And he'll go, nope, you got at least 6 more months. You're tag team champs. Go out there and get them. He's like, son of a.
Yep.
Everybody else is like, please give me the titles one time.
Oh, Charlie.
Just incredible. An incredible life, man.
Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me?
It's incredible.
We got it in my world, but it is. So anyway, that's ad-free. Your stocking stuffer, Downtown Bruno, Sam Adonis, David Crockett. I know all the, as Conrad, I can see him plugging it. But anyway, ad-free shows, best value professional wrestling. Yeah, 4 levels to choose from, starting at just $9 a month. You can gift a month, 3 months, even up to 1 year of membership of ad-free shows by going to right now to adfreegift.com. And you don't have to listen to us. How about you listen to these people?
Give the ultimate gift to the wrestling fan in your life this holiday season. The gift of ad-free shows. Head over to adfreegift.com now to purchase an ad-free show subscription for a friend or loved one. The best value in wrestling podcast with several plans to choose from. Starting as low as just $9 a month. You're gifting early ad-free access to Conrad Thompson's weekly podcast, plus access to the full podcast archive library and access to the Patreon, where you can join the community chat and submit your questions for the shows. Want more? Plans starting at $29 a month get access to over 100,000 hours of other exclusive content from legends like The Godfather, Tully Blanchard, Lex Luger, David Crockett, Downtown Bruno, and many more. Plus, interactive Q&As and watch-alongs with your favorite podcast hosts and Hall of Famers. Let's hear from some of our ad-free show's family members.
Listening to podcasts without ads is pretty cool, but listening to bonus exclusive content is even better.
AFS has meant so much to me through the moments and memories created.
My friendships that I've made so far, it's been one heck of an experience.
Not only do you get great content and so much historical information, but you're also part of a community here, even more so a family.
So many different walks of life being brought together by one commonality of wrestling.
The community and the family feel with all the members who have been very welcoming.
How many places do you get to go to actually interview stars like Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff?
When I joined ad-free shows, Eric actually called me to thank me personally. That moment made me realize just how special this community is.
And it's a global family.
It's a family that I never dreamed of having. It's been a heck of a ride, and can't wait for more to come.
Thank you, ad-free shows, for celebrating wrestling's greatest era and for making podcasts that are just too sweet. And just know that you've got a member for life.
Visit adfreegift.com today and gift an ad-free shows membership to the wrestling fan in your life this Christmas.
Adfreegift.com. Check it out today. An incredible testimonials there. The sound guy sounded hot. The voiceover guy. It's great. It's great. It's a great testimonial.
Look at you. You're just driving this car. I was like, he don't know what he's doing over there. He don't know how to run these videos or bumpers or commercials or, oh my gosh. I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you.
Grows up sometime, you grows up, and he grows up, my friend.
Hey, you may not get I know we're going to get to questions, but you may not understand this question, but our listeners will. But I've got one question to ask you, okay?
Here we go.
Who beats Alabama?
Everybody.
That's a good old that's Conrad 101 when we're talking about and Joey Burrow, but me and you, hey,
everybody.
It's NSYNC, everybody, or is that NSYNC or whoever.
Everybody. Oh, that one? Rock your body.
Look at you.
Rock your body right. Back streets back. All right.
Oh, boys and girls.
I'm cramping now. I got a stitch.
All righty. All right. Get this thing.
Are you ready, man?
Let's do it, buddy. You delivering these questions. Now, Conrad got mad at me a couple of weeks ago because he's like, Jeff, I don't want to. I'm asking the question, and then you're reading it out loud, and you're asking the question again, and people are riding along like, damn, Jeff, can you not hear him? He just asked the question. Now we got to sit through you asking yourself again. Anyway, so
guess what? We've took the graphics off, so you can't read it. Now you're going to have to listen to me.
Oh,
yeah.
Silva, you're going to get bitch slapped, young man. I know you now. Now I know exactly. Okay. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Not distracted. Put my phone down. I'll have Karen come in and make my phone in a plate over here so I can be present. I'm present with you. Okay. I'll be present.
You're here in the now. And I'm going to start with over on our live chat. Everybody watching along, if you want a question, we'll get to as many of those as we can. But want to thank Trigger Cheese. I have to say that very clear. Trigger Cheese had a question. This was a super chat, so I want to make sure we take care of him. What was Jill's favorite Double J TV moment?
Oh, gosh. That's Trigger Cheese. What are you laughing at, Casio? That you know what favorite TV moment. What I'll say is, the persona of the bad guy, Razor Ramon. I don't say he's over, but she enjoyed the feud, the matches, his persona. Thought I was a good antagonist to, I'm the Southern boy, but still blonde haired, blue eyed, long hair, very arrogant, and Mr. Machismo, super cool. She was always very complimentary of the yin and yang. So I guess it would have to be a Razor Ramon moment. Trigger Cheese, thank you, sir.
Thank you for that. Appreciate y'all. Let's jump into the questions from our adfreeshows.com. We're going to start with TL Bones, and he tweets in, fantasy booking. Jeff, you stay in WCW 97, and you join the booking committee.
Oh, Lord.
How would you have booked the end of the NWO storyline with Sting, Hogan on the horizon, Brett's impending jump in the aftermath of Montreal, and etc.?
that etc. is what really gets
murky, dirty.
It is, because I think he phrased it the end of the NWO, and in '97. So I signed with WCW in '96, a 1-year deal in October, and went to '97. So we're talking October of '97. The NWO, the end of that, and I would have to look at all the chess pieces and checker pieces and all that kind of stuff. But the NWO was far from over. And the momentum that was going on was very, very special. And man, and it's been podcasted from so many different angles. It has been discussed. Shivani, Jim Ross, Eric Bischoff, so many folks that were at that time. I was talent only. But for me personally, if I would have stayed there, and look, we're doing I think he said fantasy booking here. I really do believe if all parties and minds could have come together and maybe no distractions, I think me and Flair, if we would have, well, I don't want to say finished it, but yeah, maybe finished our storyline. Obviously, we could have got stipulations and all kinds of stuff. And me obviously being the, Rick at that point, well, still, but a legacy babyface. I think we could have finished that story out and really, I'm the heel. I get beat, and it's game, set, match, but maybe even reunite the Four Horsemen in a cool way. I think a lot of legs there that we just candidly, it never got off the ground. I'll say in a long term, Rick's health had some issues, the NWO. And then when you really look at 97, 98, oh my gosh, the amount of talent, and Conrad's good at when it went from 2 hours to 3 hours. But when you have a 3-hour Nitro, a 2-hour Thunder, a massive amount of content being created, it was a challenging time, but, that etc., my man, would be a real, excuse me, but shitstorm to try to figure all that booking out.
I mean, 97 is, of course, Sting and Hogan, DDP, Perfect, Mongo, Dean, Eddie, Booker, Disco, Saturn, Ultimo, Regal. What are we doing? Steiners?
Peak WCW.
Wow.
Conrad's always great at steering me correctly, but that 97, 98 was peak WCW.
Nash and Hall and Sticks. I mean, just an incredible lineup. Jericho's there, Alex Wright. I mean,
super deep roster.
That's just the belt. That's just people who held the belt. That's not even who's filler and who's still doing some time. That's incredible. So, good. That would have been a fun hat for you to wear. That like you said, a lot of tentacles could have went a lot of different ways.
God rest his soul, Kevin Sullivan, being essentially the creative driving force. And I got to talk to him at the NWA convention a couple of years ago. It was after the Ric Flair last match, not long after. It feels not too long after that. My dad was over there and got to sign, but I got to spend some time with Kevin Sullivan during that time. And we reminisced about a couple of things. He was aware, the podcast, he was doing a few things, and we just kind of talked about all kinds of stuff. And he was like, Jeff, the thing from the territory days, and we were talking about different bookers through the territory era. And then when things go national and you're, writing, scripting 5 hours of content a week, or 4 or 5, whatever it may be, 4 or 5 hours, it's just so different than in a territory when you're really booking, hour. In Memphis it was 90 minutes, but you're really telling an A story and maybe 2 B stories, or a B and a C, and then everything else is really, in our modern day terminology, it's all character development. And in those days, it's wins and losses, guys coming in the territory and guys going out. You're just getting different guys over in the underneath guys, and you worried about selling one match, maybe 2 or 3, and that's it. just the world has changed. And now when you kind of look at the landscape with all the digital content being created, it's just the business continues to evolve.
All right, let's keep it rolling. We'll hit a super chat. Ty Claude hit us in the live chat. You spoke of your dad, so perfect time to get to him. Any Jarrett lessons you can share with us?
Oh my goodness. Ty, appreciate it, man. This is a ad-free bonus episode, I guess, waiting to be recorded. But any lessons? Let me think of a good one to kind of. All kidding aside, there are so many that I could share at different times.
Did you talk a lot about the wrestling business?
In the first 7 years of my career, riding up and down the roads and being in his office, massive amounts. In WCW, well, WWF, he was in creative up there. And so the Double J character was being developed, and he was working for Vince, and so he was but Casio, I could tell you, other than the time, and it was a couple of years that we had our falling out, that was always really what we talked about. When I got sober in 2017, and we started having regular lunches, we'd go over to the little meet and three, and look, we would talk about sports and maybe reminisce here and there about non-wrestling stuff, but the conversation would always be dominated by about wrestling. And sometimes, as I'll say, an old timer, he would maybe tell a story or two that I'd heard, but he liked to teach. And I'll say that he was a deep reader. He read books to the day he passed away. He always had his new book he was reading, and he'd go in through phases of reading biographies and historical stuff. And then, he wasn't real big on fiction stuff, but time from time. But anyway, he was a deep reader. But philosophy was one of the things, and it's funny, I love Stoicism philosophy now. But as far as lessons, I want to get back to this. We always talk wrestling, and it would really be, I'm trying to think something that's topical, but one of the lessons that I'll say over the last, I don't know, maybe a couple of years that always kind of rings in my mind is something that he really, really, really harped on. And he would essentially say, if you don't get one story over, it's impossible to get 2 and 3 and 4. You've got to get the one story over. I told this story not long ago on the Jake Paul Tyson deal. That's and yes, the female. So I don't want to discredit the female boxing match, but at the end of the day, people tuned in to see one fight. And if you really think about it, it is at one time the baddest man on the planet and a reality star, and they're coming together. But the story and the intrigue and everything, but it was one match. It was one match. And so he always talked about the foundation of professional wrestling, no matter how you build it, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a spot show, we'll call it a one-off, or it was a weekly town. You really got to start with that one match. And he was very careful about not one story. You got to figure out what is the one match you're building, then put the story behind it, then put the promotion behind it, put the marketing behind it, layer upon layer. But he really was laser focused on how the industry, because of TV rights fees, is what he always said, that he said it's in a lot of ways at times fundamentally changes the business, because you have to, quote unquote, fill 2 hours of content. And he said, I understand that. But if you don't focus on that one match, on how you're going to make that one match make money, you kind of lose your way. And so that to me is one of the life lessons. And we always, he, in his later years, he was very complimentary about in-ring work. When I was a kid, I didn't know shit. I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know that. But, we would talk back and forth, but he's like, yeah, son, you really applied that principle to your in-ring work. You make sure you tell one story in a match and try to make that. I said, I learned that from you guys, the connection. So I think Ty, the maybe the life lesson from Jarrett today would be figure whatever it may be, keep a laser focus on what you're trying to accomplish. Don't try to do too many things at once.
Boy, it's in real life, that's easier said than done. As you know, brother. Woo. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a tough one in the wrestling business as well, too, for some people.
Yes.
Let's take a second. We want to tell you about the Friends of My World podcast, Stop Box. If you are a red-blooded American, exercise your Second Amendment's right, then Stop Box USA was built for you. Keeping your loved ones safe while ensuring instant access to your firearm is one of the biggest challenges gun owners face. Most storage options force you to fumble with the keys or gamble on a battery that might fail when it matters most. That's why Stop Box USA engineered the Stop Box Pro, a game-changing patented push-button locking system that's entirely mechanical. The Stop Box Pro has no keys, no batteries, and is instantly accessible when you need it. This means you're always ready, even in the dark or under stress. Crafted with glass-reinforced polycarbonate, it's as tough as it is secure. And My World listeners are getting 10% off your entire order when you use code MyWorld. But they are also giving you a buy one, get one free offer on their Stop Box Pro. That's 10% off and a free Stop Box Pro when you use code MyWorld at StopBoxUSA.com. That's StopBoxUSA.com. All Stop Box products are proudly made in the USA in their own facility. And not only does this ensure the high-quality craftsmanship of every product sent out, it creates meaningful jobs and opportunities for American workers. America, baby. So once again, for limited time only, My World listeners are getting a crazy deal. Not only do you get 10% off your entire order when you use code MyWorld at StopBoxUSA.com, but they are also giving you a buy one, get one free for their Stop Box Pro. That's 10% off and a free Stop Box Pro when you use code MyWorld at StopBoxUSA.com. Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with our friends at Stop Box.
Right on, Casio. Look at you.
What an incredible product that is, man.
Oh, and you know what? Get on the reels here. And I know that and I will not get into politics. It's a lot of times how people raised here in the South. we do. All kidding aside, we do, may view guns differently. But I was, you talk about a Jarrett story, and you talk about having someone, and he got it. He knew how dangerous words. You talk about getting a instant dog cussing and then some is, I don't want to say child's play because that sounds like so, but you just minded your P's and Q's. My dad bought, sold, traded, raised guns, hunted his entire life. But man, when it came down to firearms, this is the type product that he absolutely would have fallen in love with because he was big time of the mindset that you damn sure better make sure it's in a safe place for more reasons than one. But you need to have the ability to, right to bear arms, if you will, protect yourself. So when I saw this come across the ad deal, I kind of looked into it, and then I was absolutely shocked at the buy one, get one offer. But man, for all you folks out there that are looking, seriously, if you're looking for the, I'll call it the gun owner in your life, holiday season is here. This is absolutely the real deal. So as my man Casio spelled all of it out, you can go to all of our socials. I'm sure it'll be in the notes of the podcast. But this is your present for your Christmas present. Holiday season's here. It's your Christmas present for your favorite gun owner. It's the real deal.
And it's a BOGO, so you get one for yourself too. How about that?
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
StopBoxUSA.com/MyWorld will get you the hookup, as the kids say. You need a shirt, as the kids say.
I was going to say, we've used that a couple of times, you old fart.
All right, let's jump back into these questions. Francis Reyes hit us up and said, has there been any championship you wanted to win, but you have not had a chance at all to do it?
You know, Casio, and I've had a couple of conversations, I'll say it, with the Jay Lethal, with a Karen, not too much in depth there, but with a Sanjay. Satnam doesn't have enough, mileage under him. But, at the end of the day, when I kind of look at Satnam and his crazy kind of potential, and I look at how decorated Jay Lethal's career has been, Francis, I appreciate the question. And look, Conrad always jokes about, AEW this or AEW that, but a championship with those two guys at this stage of my career, I don't even know if I could put it into words, but who knows? As far as singles and that kind of stuff, man, I have been blessed, and I'm super proud of my body of work. I was in the gym early this morning hitting it. It is something that I've just got a passion for. And my in-ring days, I literally thought were numbered, not days, but years ago. And here we are coming to the close of 2024. And I'm really looking forward to 2025. And who knows, maybe sniff some gold in 2025 with those guys.
Yeah. I'm here for it, baby. I'm here for it. Good dudes you got surrounded with, so that's worth every penny right there. Speaking of the end of 2024, Nostalgic Wrestling Nerd says it's the holiday season, and when gift giving, are you a wrapping type of man or a fellow gift bag man like myself? That's what Nerd said.
You're not a gift bagger. Oh,
yeah, Nerd said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not a gift bagger.
A gift.
Isn't that somebody that moves from the north down south? Isn't they a gift bagger?
Listen, you gift.
Oh, it's a carpet bagger. It's a carpet bagger.
Gift bagger. No.
I bet you don't do any of it. Karen does everything.
Well, yeah. Again. And I get the occasional gift bag, but I've wrapped my fair share.
Oh,
presents. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best, but if need be, I can throw it down. I can wrap some presents.
I mean, we're just spitballing. It's early in the process, but I'm going to pitch a gift wrapping competition at Starcast in Arlington
in July. Okay.
Yeah. Christmas in July, baby.
There you go.
Do you think you could take the crown of all the podcast hosts?
Well, hell, look at my competition. That's not saying anything.
JR ain't rapping shit.
Hell no. Shivani ain't ripping a damn thing. Maybe a dog turd. Bischoff, hell no. Lori's going to do that.
Now, if we told Bischoff, he would study it and get into it.
Exactly.
He would research for 6 months.
You think old Connie's ever wrapped one present in his life?
No.
Not a one.
No, not one.
That low down dog.
I mean, we give each other gifts. I mean, he gave me a birthday present, and it just wasn't even wrapped. It was sitting in the bar stool with the boot when I got there.
He's so romantic. What a friend.
Not even a bow. You know what I mean? Just look. Here's the deal. It's the goods. That's what you want anyway. Let's go.
No need in cluttering it up. I hear you.
Yeah, I think he has a successful track record. Will tell you, I am successful at never wrapping a gift in my life.
Of course.
Let's go to the live chat and hit a couple people and catch up there. Errol Ebanks hit us up. Appreciate the super chat, Errol. He said, how did you create your finisher, the stroke? You went from a jumping DDT, figure four, then the stroke. How did all of that come about? Good question, Errol. Thanks for interacting with us, brother.
Errol, my man. Errol Ebanks. That's a
great name.
Yeah, I mean, Errol, we got to get you on camera. I mean, can you swing a guitar? No. But Errol, good question. And it is something that I'm not the biggest guy in the world. And there came a time in the WWF that they wanted a move, or we all kind of collectively, if I remember, we got to come up with a finish. I'd used the figure 4 when I came in. I believe it was somewhat of a request. Hey man, why don't you use the figure 4 as the Double J character in '93? So I used the figure 4 and I used it in storylines and stuff like that. But if need be, heels didn't win a lot during that time. So I would use the figure 4, but sometimes try to cheat to win, if you will. But the jumping DDT was used on that, and then went to WCW, and then I went back up there. And as we're rolling along, there were a bunch of big different guys, and we need to come up with a 1, 2, 3. I think I think I'd already cut my hair at that time, I think. And John Tenta, Golga, I think I was working with him, and Jack Lanza was the agent. And this had kind of been building up to it. Lanza said, hey, man, I think you already know they kind of want you to come up with a 1, 2, 3. And I said, yeah, I've been thinking about it. And I want to kind of use this reverse Russian leg sweep where the guy takes a face bump. Lanza was like, shit, I love it. Let me run it by him. And I think he ran it up the flagpole, and everybody kind of agreed to it. And it was pretty simple and off and running. And then when we got to WCW, it weaved into a storyline. And then, as we say, the rest is history.
A good chat over here. Devin Dowling said the stroke could have been named the Strum. How about that?
Whoa, that's the first I've ever, how about that? Oh, Billy
That's
Squire.
pretty good.
Yeah, he's trying to take Billy Squire instead of Stroke Man.
Strum man, strum man, strum. Speaking of the live chat, Adams, I'm going to say bass covers. It'd be weird if he had covers for bass. I think it would be.
Yep.
That's a product, bass covers, where you tuck your fish in after you catch them. What is your current workout and cardio routine? Adam, appreciate you interacting. Appreciate you hitting us up with a super chat, brother.
Adams, bass covers. I tell you what, man, I could really get into talking about this because coming out of the pandemic, I've kind of referenced this. I got sick, lost, for me, quite a bit of weight, wasn't feeling good. And I can remember laying in bed, and I don't know if it was day 3, 4, or 5, because I was knocked down for a while. I said, when I get my butt, get through this, I'm going to get my ass back in shape. And I decided I'm going to get in the best possible shape of my life. I just had that mindset. It was time to do this. Corey, my trainer, I had known for years. I used to walk in Gold's Gym and giving him a hard time, and then I'd go on about my way and go work out. But we got together, and I said I needed somebody to truly push me. And so my current workout and cardio routine, so I work out an hour a day. I warm up for 10 minutes, and then I do 30 minutes. One day I'll do push, which would be obviously chest, shoulders, and tries. Another day is pull, back, traps, and buys. And then another day, third day, I do legs. And then those are 3 of the days. I'll do a cardio only day, and that's an hour of cardio. And then I'll do a HIIT workout. We'll call that day, 5 and 6, and then I'll take an off day. But I think one of the things that's kind of put me to another level is that during my workout, I will integrate cardio, quick little routines. I try to get my heart rate up over, I'd love to say over 130 immediately, but I try to stay over 120, between 120, 140 for the hour. And that is something that I have found that, when you break it right down, your heart is it's a muscle. And so you've got to get your heart pumping and get as much blood pumping through there so it can get muscle blood to the rest of your muscle. And I think, the big deal that, Adams, I think you're kind of looking for pro tips. My man, You can work it out. You can work out all you want. You can have the best cardio routine all you want, get that heart rate up. But if you're not putting fuel in the tank and sleeping right, you are really, really behind the 8 ball. And so in today's world, to get the right nutrition, you got to really think through it. So I eat 6 times a day. 2 of those times are protein shakes, but you got to eat. And look, I'm not the cleanest eater. I could be cleaner, but I eat pretty clean. Cut out everything white, breads. I'm not a sugar guy, so sweets and stuff like that. So try to eat clean. But no, it's my passion. It really is one of my passions. I love just staying in shape, and it is a lifestyle. So I hope that helped out. But as far as a workout routine, I'll just say this: I do 3 supersets 3 different times and integrate cardio in the middle of them. That's Hindu squats, push-ups, sit-ups, something to get the heart rate up, and you really got to burn it. But I think the heart rate is wildly missed in most folks' workouts. They go through there and they'll do a set and then rest, and the heart goes all the way back down to almost a resting heart rate. Very, very, very hard to get in shape doing that. And I say get in shape, build muscle.
That means you don't eat potatoes?
Oh, Lord. Enriched white flour, pal. Yes, I ate potatoes.
Well, they're white.
Hey, Silva.
After you skin them.
Silva. He just listened to 10 minutes of me talking and his response was, "You don't eat taters?"
Mashed potatoes are white.
Okay. I do not. I try to stay away from enriched white flour. That's
okay.
Breads.
I at least get the broke white bread. I don't get the rich one or whatever you're talking about. I don't know if that's fancy or something.
Enriched white flour and
is that wheat?
Yeah, and sugars got to go. It ain't gonna work out for you.
What?
Come on with it. What you got?
Why are we living life? I don't know, man.
Oh, you can live life.
What's a Racy cup, man?
Hey, to each his own.
What's the last candy you ate? You had a moment of weakness. You ate a little, fun size Kit Kat or something.
I'll say this: one of the good things about it is I'm allergic to chocolate. And
okay.
I can't eat chocolate. And Karen, that sweet, voluptuous bride of mine, loves chocolate. So that's the kind of sweet. Well, she likes all kinds of sweets, but she eats sweets. But probably the last sweet I had would be gummy bears. My man Cody, he likes sweets too, and he likes chips. Man, you slide into his room and try to maybe get up some dirty clothes or a wet towel or whatever, and you look over on his nightstand, you see a bag of gummy bears. Hard to turn that down, Casio. I have to turn the other way and say, behind me, gummy bears.
All right. Let's keep it going. We've got Stonewall. Stone hit us up and said, what did it mean to you to not only win the legendary NWA title, but to hold it, defend it, and basically be the torchbearer for the NWA title during the early part of the 2000s?
So, I had a conversation the other day that got in depth. He's an AEW main eventer. I'll just leave it at that. He kind of got into all the questioning on, he says, tell me a little bit about all of why and everything that goes with it. And I said, well, starting a new promotion in the circumstances that we did, I knew it was going to, it goes without saying, it's a completely different era that we're in now. It was coming off the Attitude Era. Wrestling was a 4-letter word. Sponsors wouldn't touch it. And so I wanted to kind of create, we're writing a story. And so the story had to begin with something. And we could have created from the beginning the TNA championships, heavyweights and tags on that. But I chose, I had a pretty lengthy debate with my father off and on for a month or two about this. And I said, well, there's a lineage with the NWA title that goes way, way back. So I thought that at the time NWA was far from its glory years. It had, it just, with WCW being created in the early 90s, since that time, NWA, it would, I don't say fallen off the map for the lack of better words. It had. And so I went to them and I said, I think there's a deal here to be made on, it's a win-win. It kind of gives us some credibility for as an upstart. And then you guys, it's going to give you exposure. And so we came together and did a licensing deal and it all worked out. And when we, as a company, TNA, got to a point that we really, in a lot of ways, Spike, we had to kind of move through that. We had to own the IP. And I think we served the NWA well and the NWA served us well. It was time to go our separate ways. But my opportunity, that's the belt. Me and Conrad have talked about this on previous episodes of My World. The NWA World Heavyweight Champion was legitimately the world title that I grew up on. My father, it's the title that he was an enormous fan of. His favorite champion was Dory Funk. And, whether it's the Funks or the Briscoes or Dusty Rhodes or Ric Flair, and, we can go way back and all the other past champions, but it was an honor for me because I always looked at that, and I got to defend that title in New Zealand and Japan, Puerto Rico, had a match in Puerto Rico against Ray Gonzalez. So there's so much history in that belt. I wore it with great pride, no doubt.
All right. Blake Horton says you and Shane Douglas were both in WWE in 1995 and left at nearly the same time in early 96. Did you think he was treated unfairly by Vince or the Clique, besides being saddled with the Dean Douglas gimmick, or was he kind of his own worst enemy?
I saw this question online and it made me start thinking, wait a minute, does he have the right dates? But he appreciate your question first off. And the reality is, me and Road Dogg walked out in July of 95. Dean was just right during that time frame. I came back, I'll say January of 95 going to 96, and I was gone by July. So I wasn't around, Dean Douglas, Shane, if you will, in WWF. And I knew he had gotten sideways with some folks and it wasn't the greatest environment for all parties involved for whatever reason. But I don't really have enough firsthand knowledge to know, I don't say who's right and who's wrong, but how all that got off on the wrong foot. I will say this though. When you look at the different characters that were attempted to be developed from really the beginning of the new generation, and he was certainly, getting toward the end, it was probably a year before Attitude Era, if you will. There was a lot of personas, characters, gimmicks that were just candidly, the audience was not going to be attracted. And they had seen Shane Douglas, whether, however you want to say it, the Dynamic Dudes, but they had seen him on TV before. And this character, pretty much damn near impossible to get any traction. So kind of Shane had two strikes against him coming out of the gate. And I'm not pointing fingers or saying it's anybody's fault, but it goes without saying, there were some gimmicks that were given to folks that were just, I think that even the folks who created them would say, yeah, that the timing of all that, it just wasn't there.
Maybe we don't have to get into names, but just in a quick answer, what, because we hear that all the time. He's saddled with this gimmick, or they put him in the no-end. Were people given gimmicks as punishment? Yes or no?
No, I don't. I think I always chuckle when I think about my man. I still to this day called him, God rest his soul, Soul Train Jones. But them calling Virgil, kind of an inside rib, Dusty, and then went to WCW. He's called Vincent. Just little insider jokes, but for the most part, given a gimmick to be punished, the promoter punishes himself if he gives somebody a bad gimmick. Yeah. From the beginning, there's no logic in that.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to clarify there.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's see. We got Dazed Wooderson says, why did you wear shooting glasses in WCW?
Oh, I've been asked that question a couple of different times. And I was wearing cutoff button-down shirts, but I had a yellow one, an orange one, a blue one, a green one, a purple one. I got all the different colors there, and I cut off the sleeves because I was looking for, I've always said, hey, streets or tights. That's kind of I'm not the only one who says that, but, you know, if I'm looking at a format and somebody hands it to me or I talk about it, my vernacular was, hey, man, am I wearing streets out there for this? And so I wore the black jeans and boots, and I wore tops, and I wanted to get kind of matching glasses. And I remember there was an orange pair of sunglasses that I found somewhere, maybe in a mall or an airport. I said, they're going to match my top. And then the yellow came along, and I remember looking at them, and they're like, hey, man, get you a pair of hunting glasses. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I looked that up, got those. And then there for a while, me living on the water, there was a guy over in East Tennessee, Casio, that is pretty cool. He made these custom glasses that he ordered from somewhere, but he took the glasses and he'd put literally little pieces of styrofoam or foam padding that you could wear, and they floated on top of the water. So they were made for jet skiing. They were sunglasses, and that you could wear, but if they got blown off or all that, they'd float. So, yeah. And they came in a bunch of different colors. So the yellow ones, to your question, why? Because I'm going somewhere with this silly story. I ended up wearing those yellow ones, and they did a photo shoot, and then the ringside photographer and I had an in-ring this night. They took a bunch of different pictures and got pictures coming down out. And then all of a sudden the yellow ones were kind of the ones that really stuck. And then I had these yellow and silver tights, and I started wearing, not just for my streets, but also going to the ring, the color glasses and those yellows. And then the next thing you know, WCW comes to me and the Slapnuts and said, hey, we're going to start selling these yellow glasses with Slapnuts written on them and this and that. And I'm sure they could buy them in mass, cheap hunting glasses. And then it just kind of went from there. Good question.
Did you keep going with your guys' glasses after they started mass producing them, or did you wear the ones they sold?
Now, what do you think, Cassie? Had you ever listened to our podcast before about picture money? Coach Rosie, slap him around.
Well, speaking of, we'll go to Coach Rosie's live chat question. He said, we already talked football, but he said, Jeff, what do you think of the Vols start to the hoop season? They're undefeated, ranked #1 in the country.
I'm obviously a big fan of the Vols, but there is something about their rhythm of getting athletes, and it's like, I think in all sports, but man, in a lot of ways, college programs, if they get the big if they get momentum and get one kid after another, what's the kid that plays for the Lakers there? Connect. He's lighting it up. But, the Vols have got the coach, the run of athletes, the facilities. I just think they're kind of hitting on all cylinders, but man, the college sports has changed so much. The one and done era is now, what are we going back? 10 years, 12 years? Maybe I'm dating myself. 15 years. College players come in, kids, and play 1 year and then go to the pros. And I think that's kind of evolving out of that. We've got some kids that have stuck around a while. They're going to the Final Four this year for sure. I'll say that, Coach.
Woo! Yeah, there we go.
Market.
A little basketball prediction there. I like it.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to the live chat. Ghostface hit us up and said, did you ever work with or for Dale Mann?
Ghostface. You don't have a clue, do you, Cassie?
No. I think he was the outfielder for the Braves.
Dale Murphy.
Oh, Dale Murphy. Okay, yeah.
But Dale Mann was, man, God, Ghostface, man, maybe if you can give me an update on, so you're on YouTube, maybe it's look in the chat or social media, like whatever happened to old Dale?
Where was Dale based out of?
That's what I was going to step back to. So he, I'm going to get it wrong. I think Central City, Kentucky was his home. Man, I apologize if I'm getting these towns. It's been many minutes ago. But, Casio, nowadays we have the nice vernacular of he was a independent wrestling promoter. Well, back in my old man's days, they would call them outlaw promoters. And that was not kind, but anyway, Dale's a legendary guy that was great for the business because, we as a family, the family promotion, we ran Nashville, Memphis, Nashville, Louisville, Evansville, and spot shows everywhere. But Dale ran consistently, and you can, there are different talent today. They're probably most all gone, but there was an era that lots of guys got, I don't even want to say their start, but man, Dale gave them work quite a bit in the Western Kentucky area. And as every day that goes by, Casio, I'm more and more not just grateful, but man, I just wish talent could get these, because reps is something that you're a professional comedian, Casio. Nothing replaces a local stand-up comedy club, would you say, Casio, where you can go in and really just hone your craft, right?
I tell everybody that asks me any comic, hey, man, I'm thinking about doing comedy. I go, just do it. If you'll just start doing it, you're going to figure out real fast what you need to learn. One, whether you want to do it or not, and that's the only way to get better. It's like you mentioned earlier, it's a muscle. And so all that it's like any other sport. You got to get into it. You got to have, where they go, oh, he's back from a torn ACL, but he ain't in playing shape yet. There's a difference there. And it's the same thing with comedy, same thing with doing the wrestling. If you're out of it, that rust is real.
I mean, you've never had this conversation. No shit. That's exactly though, huh?
Yeah. Reps, man. Like if I take a break off, if I go 3 months and I haven't booked a real, whole weekend at a club, that first one back, I'm like, oh, here we go. This first one's going to be, because your mind isn't even in the same. I know what set I'm going to do when I go up. It just starts rolling. But on that first one, if you haven't done it in a while, you're like, now what do I do? What's the order?
Gosh.
How do I transition into that story and then into that story? What are we doing? It's definitely a muscle, man. Reps is the key. The key.
That, you know what? So, well, we'll do a quick sidebar here. Our man, Brother James Gregory, right?
Yeah.
How many times did you see him?
1 million.
Okay. So yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. But it always amazed me that I would, because he loved wrestling and out there anyway. So I've seen him, for me, this is a lot. I bet I saw him 20 times, 15 times, something like that. But it amazed me that he would go in to his cadence and I would know what's coming up and still be in tears.
Yes.
Explain that.
Well, one, you just got to get to a level and the material's got to be, so good. Brian Regan, I don't know if familiar with him, a comedian, one of my favorites of all time. I mean, he's on my personal Rushmore.
Okay.
He does, you go see him now. He's been doing it so long. He'll do his hour. He's the only person. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that do it, but he's the only person I saw do it in person. Does his hour or however long he's doing that night. Then he raps, everybody cheers, and then he goes, okay, I know y'all came here for certain bits, certain stories. Y'all yell something out, taking requests, which is insane to me. And they go, because it's stories that he's done telling because he's been doing it for so long, and they just yell something. They'll just yell something, Fig Newtons, and then he go, oh, I hadn't done that, and he'll do the Fig Newton deal, just like you remember. It's like a band. Like
it is.
I know the song, and I want you to play the damn song, and don't play me the new stuff.
When he would go into Southern funerals, I mean, I would literally go, here it comes.
Well, the fat family members, and I mean
his breathing.
Oh, he sounds like he's put out. I mean, his line, one of the first lines I heard him say is when this is the time dating myself again. When everybody had beepers and pagers that clipped on your pants, and he goes, "My aunt's damn 300 pounds, and she's got a beeper. I tell you what, that could be a bead of sweat. She gonna miss some calls. She can't feel that." Just that delivery he's got.
Yes. Oh, it's great. Yeah.
And then he do the sometime in the past. Some nut said to his wife, "Honey, I think I'm gonna open the door in this flight." Now they got to put a damn sign on it. He's amazing. Did you ever go to a Christmas party or anything? Like, were you friends with him?
He sent me a Christmas card every time. I was always working. I never get to.
Oh, I heard they were magical nights. Fascinating. Again, we can talk about that on offline.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Brother James, God rest his. How'd we get on that?
Reps.
Back to the question. Dale Mann gave guys reps. And if guys would really take that to heart and say, "Oh, man, I'm not getting paid. I'm not doing this." I'm like, God almighty, you are just missing the opportunity of truly a lifetime. You're in your 20s, man. Go get as many reps as possible. All right, I'm back off the box.
Mid-Continental Wrestling out of Georgetown, Kentucky.
Boom.
Mid-America CWA banner is what they kind of went under there. And known for bringing in, like you said, so many names. Of course, Randy and Leapin' Lanny, Bill Dundee, Dutch Mantell, Ron Starr, Tracy Smothers, Pistol Pez, the Von Braun brothers. How about that, man?
Yep. Georgetown. But totally forgot about that.
Incredible little hotbed there. How about this? He was also Jeff Jarrett's original tag team partner.
Would you look what just dropped in?
Oh, Dale. I thought you were going to say Dale Mann. I was going to be
Yes, hey, Dale Mann is here. He is here.
Hey, Casio.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right,
See, bud.
Hey, I don't have notes. I don't have ads. I just thought, hey, I bet they're still going, and I'm home. Let's do it.
You have made my night that you cared enough to sit down. What a day you've had. Started early. Talk to us, my man. Talk to us.
Well, excited to be here, man. I'm finally home here at the lake in Gunnersville, and woke up this morning in Dallas about 9:00 last night. Got a text that said, "Hey, here's your format for tomorrow." I thought we were just going to be looking at space and stuff for Starcast and getting our plan together. No, I'm hosting. And did not bring a sport coat, did not bring a suit. Oh, I'm hosting. Okay. So here we go, live with no net. IFBs aren't working at the time. And it's like, I don't know what's coming next, but I know how to wave. And so we had fun, man. It's going to be so exciting. I know you've seen the building, Jeff, but man, it's pretty wild to look at that baseball stadium and think, next July, there's just going to be wrestling fans every 18 inches. It's going to be bananas, dude. It's a special building. And I couldn't believe I was on stage and there's Sting, like in full paint. Like, man, this is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Brian Danielson.
Oh, yeah. Big Boom AJ. By the way, I know you know AJ. Today was my first day meeting AJ. And today was my first day meeting Big Justice. Is Big Justice not the coolest kid you ever met ever?
It's crazy, man.
He's such a nice young man.
He is. Well-mannered, right? Very well-mannered.
Just full of positivity. And listen, I know that there's people out there who have critics about, kids and stage dads and all that. Man, none of that exists. That little boy was so excited to show me him hitting a line drive on his phone. It was like, man, this is awesome. His positivity is infectious. I'm glad that they're in AEW. It reminds us what it's all about. Like, he was so excited to be there.
I just can't wait to crack the Rizzler's head, but that's another. I'm getting Rizzler's ass. I'm just getting him. I'm going to get him. Right, Casio? You good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Split the Rizzler's head.
Yeah. Oh, I think Conrad's froze up. Is he froze up on?
That's a good shot to be froze on, though. Look, he's happy. Look at him. Refreshed. He's happy to be home. Look at that.
Yeah, buddy. He's Casio. Oh, well, we popped him off. Where were we? Were we talking about Brother James Gregory?
No, we just wrapped up Dale. Big Dale. Dale TNT, man, my friend.
Exactly. All right. Keep rolling.
Let's see what we got here. Let's go back to the mailbag here. Eddie Breen said, could you, Jeff, as someone who has made his mistakes, dealt with his demons, and come out the other side a better man, do you feel an obligation to pass advice on, not in-ring stuff, but dealing with life in wrestling without falling into the traps? If so, do they listen? Oh, good question, by the way.
Well, I want to, okay, because I don't want you to have to reread it. I was going to reread, but basically, do I feel an obligation to share my life experiences?
Yes, to tell them about dealing with life in wrestling and not falling into the traps. Do you feel an obligation to share that with them and kind of guide them? And if so, do they even listen?
So here's if I was talking to this individual face to face who just asked that question, Casio, I would
Eddie Breen.
Hey Eddie, I'm going to tell you something right now. I hope you're really watching, because I'm going to say, come in close. Listen, really, I want you to hear this. Almost let this sink in, because I've learned this the hard way in so many ways. Unsolicited advice is criticism.
Oh,
so
I've never heard that.
I'm going to say something. Unsolicited advice is criticism. I've learned that the hard way. And most people, if not all, never, ever, ever like to be told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it. And it's a whole different ballgame if they come up and say, hey, man, I need help. And this just did in recovery. It's really nice. Most people, and I'm on the very top of that, or I certainly used to be, is I'm going to learn the hard way. I'm going to do it my way or the highway. But man, oh man, life is so much easier when you go, you know what? I don't think I've really figured all this out. Let me ask a bunch of people and see, and let me keep asking. But here's what I've like to kind of give the flip side of that, because you're saying, well, what, Jeff? You know, nobody's going to ask you for advice. They're just, you know, so how does that happen? And you know, I think you've got a lot to share, and I've got 57, 58 years of wisdom and this and all this kind of stuff. So I don't go up and force any advice, but what I do try to do, and what I have absolutely seen affect people in a lot of ways. And Coach Rosie, if you're listening, I want you to listen to this stat. You'll like this, but here's the analogy I always draw. I'm a basketball junkie, a sports junkie, but the game of basketball is played 95% of the time without the ball. Now, all the headlines are who won the game, who scored the most points, who's the high scorer on this team, who's the high scorer on that team. It's all about taking the ball and putting the hoop, and that is true. But in life, much like basketball, about 95% of the game is played without you having the ball in your hands. And the analogy that I'm kind of drawing that out to is that if you live your life, not your way, but God's way, to be quite clear and candid on this, people will observe that, what, this guy doesn't really go by the same set of rules that the world goes by. He's kind of going by a different set. But if you live your life in a way that you always try to do, and I say try because we all fail, try to do the right thing and treat people with kindness, and, you know, the old golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But, you know, try to help others and give and serve and do all the things that you probably, like myself, don't come second nature. Then all of a sudden, I think that is what people can look at and, you know, I'll say be attracted to, or it may raise the right kind of, that's interesting. So at the end of the day, I don't promote, I hope I attract folks by people learning from all my screw ups, and I hope they do, because I've got a lifetime of them. but I did come out the other side by the grace of God. Good question, my man.
Well, you dropped some knowledge on us there.
What'd you think? Unsolicited advice is criticism. You like that?
Yeah, I want to tweet it. Did you write that, or did you hear it from somebody?
I've heard that, but man, oh man,
it's great.
Hey, how? Oh boy,
it's true.
It is so. Our gut instinct when people start telling us, you go, "Oh, this guy's preaching to me. Get away."
Why are you telling me what to do?
Exactly.
I mean, it's the thing, and not just. I mean, I go back to comedy, but just because it just came up this past weekend, I was doing a show with a guy named Dean Edwards. Shout out to Dean. He's on making his Jimmy Fallon debut tonight. How about that?
Wow.
And the first comic was on. Dean was headlining. I was second. So the MC was on, and we were doing our second show. And Dean said, "Hey, do you know him well?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Do you think he would mind if I give him some advice about his set?" Which, for a young comic, a headliner giving you advice is amazing. But also, him being an older guy in the business knew some people take that the wrong way. Hey, man, you know that joke you do? What if you did it this way? They go, "Oh, I wrote the joke. Well, what are you telling me how to do my joke for?" And so you have to be in the mindset to, like you said, to be able to take advice. And then I think it's human nature. That's hard because for a lot of us, I won't say all of us, a lot of humans go, "You're attacking me."
Bingo.
But what about you?
When I was in third grade, he was a PE coach, but he became a basketball coach, but he got me into running and all this kind of stuff. But man, I can remember the words coming out of his mouth. I'm in third grade. I really had no idea, but it was the first time I heard it, and it stuck with me through all these years. And then when you get up and become an adult, you go, "Oh, I don't need this." But they said, always be teachable, always be coachable.
Coachable.
Buddy, when all of a sudden we get into our adult years, we don't think we need no advice. And oh my God, that's when we need the most. Anyway. Oh boy.
Well, let me give our listeners some advice, Jim.
Okay, here we go. Under the Casio learning tree, buckle up.
What do you know about sit down wind?
Sit down wind?
Yeah.
I know that I like to do that at the Thanksgiving table when you and Conrad are around.
What do you mean?
I get upwind because I don't want to be downwind from you guys.
Well, sit down wind is when somebody's got that swamp ass going and they sit down and the wind blows up and you can smell it and you go, "That's not a good smell. That's not a good smell." Well, I'm going to give y'all some advice. Okay. Mando.
Oh,
whole body odor control. Nobody likes to smell your sit down wind. Okay. Get a hold of yourselves, people. Mando, all the cracks and crevices. I bet you got sit down wind when you get out of the gym, Jeff. No?
If you're going to get into this, Mando, Conrad is look, he don't even have a card to read, and you don't either. You're talking about sit down win.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to call my man, Danny Engler, because he's got body funk. I'm going to call my man, Abyss, Chris Park. He's got body funk, but they are on right now. All kidding aside, they went to mandopodcast.com/myworld, put in the code myworld. Conrad has literally lit those guys up. They have a lifetime supply because they're both so damn stinky. Them a lifetime supply.
But they're coachable. That's the key. Are they using it?
Do we
know?
I guarantee you, not one, but two fingers, because Silva said a one-finger test don't work. If you do a two-finger test, it always works. I kid you not. For some crazy reason, Silva has told Connie that I'm telling you guys, a one-finger sniff test, you may have ate pizza for lunch. You might have had SpaghettiOs for dinner the night before, and that tomato paste gets on your hands.
Yeah,
you won't know if that's your butthole, your taint, your crotch. I'm telling you, your smell, it ain't gonna, if you do the one finger, but if you do the two finger, Silva says it is Mando approved.
Your gooch will be grade A with our friends over at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. You know what that means when it says whole body? Butt cracks, feet, thigh folds, balls, pits. Hey, you don't think I got a belly button that gets a little funk in it every now and then? Seriously, this could be a kiddie pool, this belly button. And I got it under control with Mando. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. All right, guys? 12 hours after a shower, the average man's grundle odor level is about a 5 out of 10. With Mando, the average grundle odor is a 0 out of a 10. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, maybe the Mani body wash, maybe the deodorant wipes, and you get free shipping. And as a special offer for My World listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code MyWorld at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell Mando we sent you. You can smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Take advantage of it. Go to mandopodcast.com/myworld to get $5 off your starter pack. And as everywhere, you order anything, use code MyWorld to get the hookup. We're going to get the MyWorld listeners smelling right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you. Connie set us on the straight and narrow. He has wrestlers, referees, friends of wrestlers and referees. They all absolutely know exactly how to do the 2-finger Silva litmus test, and brother, Mando sets them up. I believe in the coming weeks, we are actually going to have a tutorial by Mr. Silva on exactly how to execute the 2-finger test.
I'm up for it now if he's ready, because I want to be here for it. Maybe I can do a pop-in.
I knew we would completely get derailed here.
Yeah. I'll give him a 3-finger test if he needs it myself. I'll personally give him the 3-finger test if he's down.
Oh, boy, here we go.
MandoPodcast.com/myworld. Use promo code myworld and get your $5 off your starter pack, plus all those goodies, free shipping. It's perfect for new customers. Go get it now. And it's a great Christmas gift as we get here towards the holiday. Hey, they don't want advice, but they'll take some deodorant, okay?
Look, it is warranted when you got a stinky friend. Say, listen, I know you don't want my advice, but you got to be teachable, coachable, and smellable. Get your ass in the shower and get out and put Mando on.
Yeah, I have a rule. I don't want you making fun of me. I mean, I can take it. But serious biz, if I'm ever stinking, you need to tell me right then, okay? Tell me, hey, man, I can smell you a little bit, okay? You just go hit a wet wipe or something and come back. Now we got Mando on. We're good to go. Thank you, Mando, for sponsoring My World. And thank you, listeners, for taking advantage of Mando's deal. Use promo code Mando. Get your jingle balls ready for Christmas.
Good God almighty. You're a train wreck. Oh, Wrestling NIE in the chat. Love smellable. So we're on a roll here, pal. Holiday season.
All right, let's get back into the live chat and get some questions from there, and appreciate y'all joining us in the live chat. Ronaldo Rodriguez says, what was your favorite TNA and WWF run from your early years?
Well, Ronald Rodriguez, appreciate it, but favorite TNA and WWF run in the early years, it's, I just had 2 WWF runs and 1 TNA run. But man, both eras, and we cover it, Ronaldo, we cover all, shapes and sizes and episodes and pay-per-views and matches and talent. But one thing is absolutely for sure each stop along the way, as I've gotten to do my world over the last couple of years, what a crazy run I've had, because the TNA run in and of itself had so many plot twists, but my WWF run 93 to 96 was my first one, the Double J character. And we were talking about that. I think about the New Generation era when, TL Hopper and Duke the Dumpster and the Goon, the hockey player, and Mantar, and just all the different, we'll call it vocation gimmicks that were put on. None of those, a lot of kids still don't grow up and say, hey, man, I want to be a Mantar when I grow up. I mean, I say that, or a trash man and all the characters and stuff like that. But the music character was really a true extension of my personality to this day. Hell, I love to sing and I love country music. And at that time, a Southern boy from headed to New York City, and how at the time WWF was so stamped as a New York City based promotion, and it just clicked. So I love that time during my career.
Well, since you brought him up, Ty Claude in the YouTube chat said, what's your thoughts about Dirty White Boy and his run as T.L. Hopper? How about that?
Look, Dirty White Boy in the territory days, old Tony Anthony, they drew money, man. And Dirty White Boy was just who was that, Casio? A Foreigner? Who's
Dirty White Boy, yeah.
Foreigner, right?
Yep.
That song was hot in the 80s, but that was, Tony's East Tennessee boy that had, you just can envision him walking into a bar and smacking the shit out of somebody just because they looked at him wrong. That persona fit him. TL Hopper, and as good a worker as Tony was, that was again a persona like a Dean Douglas, like a Mantar, like a Duke the Dumpster. They really had two strikes coming out of the gate, and that time, and me and Conrad have really gone into that. Just the business had evolved from all those type characters of the 90s, and it was just waiting candidly on that NWO Attitude Era persona that just things exploded when things headed in that direction.
Tyler from NH said AEW has used licensed music for several wrestlers. Any chance of you coming out as Simply Irresistible again before hanging up the boots?
Two, slim and none. No, I have no desire to come out to my man Rob Palmer. I'm going to stick with My World is a theme that is, podcast named after it. So we're going to stick with My World. I love it.
Kevin, the Showstopper, says, did you get any backlash from anyone in country music for the vignettes you filmed in Nashville in 1993?
Man, oh man. No, the short answer is no, but the and I didn't understand this till multiple years later, but where the country music business was at in the early 90s, and I've learned a lot of this from Toby and others, but it had really made an incredible transition from the 80s. In the 90s, they called them the Hat Axe and Clint Black and Garth Brooks and others. But man, country music was, as different genres have, in music forever, that it began to kind of drift over into that pop world. And the city of Nashville was nothing like it is today. I mean, the Ryman Auditorium now stays sold out in events in there. I'd say 5 nights a week, 4 or 5 nights a week. When I filmed those vignettes, and Bruce Pritchard was producing them, and Kerwin Sylvies, and we've talked about it, that the mother church was shut down, boarded up, graffiti on, you can see it in one of the vignettes, graffiti on the walls. The Ryman the Grand Ole Opry had moved out to the Opryland. So country music and the nostalgia and downtown Nashville in the early 90s was just, it's hard to imagine in 2024, 2025, that, 30 years ago, the way I'll call the respect of the country music business, I don't say didn't exist, but man, oh man, it was going through a radical change. So years later, different folks had seen the different vignettes and they laughed about it because, I took shots at Willie Nelson when I recorded out in front of Tootsie's and Buggy Whip Arms, Billy Ray Cyrus, and Bruce had me call him an Italian boy. An Italian boy. He's a Kentucky boy. We had fun with it, but that was the thing about those vignettes. All 12 of them had so much personality in them. That's where people, even as we started this podcast, they began to learn to really hate that character, and they hated me.
Brian Wiseman said, I've lived in Louisville my whole 38 years on Thursday. I'd just like to hear some funny stories about a show in Louisville or a trip to Louisville. Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. Every Tuesday, man, get up and head out there. We leave about 2:33 from Nashville. It's on fast times, slow times in Nashville, but going from Central to Eastern. Oh, my gosh. Louisville Gardens, in that alley we would park, and I'd haul in my wrestling bag and my picture money. But, oh, boy. In the back of Louisville Gardens one night, there is a famous or infamous story. No, Casio, you're not going to get any smut. But my riding buddy, he would at the time was our referee, Frank Morrell, and Randy Hales at that time was helping out. And he was making the towns at the time too. I think he either helping by either Lawler or my dad. He would help carry finishes up or whatever it may be. But for several weeks in the back of the Louisville Gardens, and you can imagine it's the width of the back of the building, they had talked about who could beat each other in a sprint, in a foot race. And they just kind of jockeyed back and forth, and we had fun with it. And we would kind of wind both sides up and, who's going to win this and who's going to win that. And, Frank was several years older than Randy. And he's like, Randy, I can still beat you in a foot race. Long story short, of course, one night we get it to where we're going to have a foot race, and they both started in the back of the building on one side of the building. They had to be touching it, and they took off and we're going to race, and they were going to stop probably about, 15 feet before the brick wall, before the end of the wall, because we didn't want them to race to touch the wall. They just had to hit a finish line and then give them enough time to stop in front of the wall. So this is Frank Morrell and Randy Hales. On your mark, I think Billy Travis. I'm trying to think who the audience was. But on your mark, get set, go. And they took off in a dead heat. And they are trudging and going and trudging and going. And here they come to the finish line. And Frank lunged to get the win. And as he did, he stumbled. And one foot went down and another foot went down. And he tripped. And he went head first into the wall with his head. And I run over and I go, oh my God, he's dead. It was a boom. Lawler can tell this story. There's a few guys. Anyway, I go over there and I just said, oh my God, Frank, are you all right? And he just kind of rolled over and he's like, I said, Frank, man, are you all right? You could just tell here's blood coming out. He said, oh man, my head, it'll be fine. But and he didn't say these words, but he said my effing arm. And he had caught himself and at the last second with his arm, but then the head hit, but he cracked his arm, broke his arm in two places. And I had to turn away because it was disfigured. We had to do the show that night, but they immediately got him, took him to the hospital. He goes to the hospital. We worked the show and we're like, okay, we've got to go to the hospital and do all this. And oh boy, here we go. So we go in, he's there and they reset it and bandaged it up and got it all this. And, this is 90, 89, 90, 91, whatever, before cell phones. I'll just say that.
Right.
Casio, we drove home and he lived out off Murfreesboro Road in Nashville. And we're like, okay, we're going to drop you off. We're going to get you back in your house. And his wife, lovely lady, Anna. Can you imagine, Casio, going in, sitting down with your wife, letting her know you're going to be off work because it was his counting hand. He's going to be off.
Oh,
honey, I broke my arm. Oh Lord, did you take a bad bump out of the ring? Did you, what happened here? What happened there? What happened? Was there a fight? No. Well, how'd you do it? I was in a foot race backstage. Oh man, there's your Louisville story. Thanks for coming.
Frank Morrell, OHW.
Yes. HW Morrell.
HW, baby.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see. Nicola said, how many fans would you need to get to be considered a success to leave Orlando studios for pay-per-views?
To leave the studios to take it out on the road?
Yeah.
And that is something that nowadays you can charge admission. And when we were at Orlando Universal Studios backlot soundstage 21, you couldn't charge admission. So that wasn't really a number that had to be met or not met. It was a strategic decision that was made, really pushed a little bit by Dallas. Hey man, can we go create more revenue? And ultimately, because you've got to go out, you got to sell tickets, but you also got to pay for lights and travel and airline and all that kind of stuff. The numbers really didn't add up. But to answer the question, there wasn't a number we had to beat as far as, cause there was no revenue from tickets in Orlando.
All right. I never thought about it that way. That's a good question. Thank you for that, Nicola. Michael Burgett says, is there a venue that you haven't wrestled in yet that you would want to?
I'm going to clarify. That question was asked, and because me and Conrad said ECW Arena, and it was brought to my attention that TNA did run a show and I wrestled Rhino. So I have worked in the ECW Arena. I'd like to have worked in the ECW Arena for ECW back in the day.
Yeah.
But there isn't a venue that comes to my mind. There's some new buildings out there that are just absolutely beautiful. Barclays Center is one of the ones that really come to mind, but there's some new arenas across the country that are just top notch. That one we were just in, Fishers, Indiana, which is right outside of Indianapolis. It is a state-of-the-art brand new building. AEW Dynamite was the 4th event. It just top notch. And there's some others around the country, but as far as like historic, Mexico, Puerto Rico, all across America, United States, Canada, all through the UK, Germany. I feel very blessed. Japan, Jesus, even Australia. I've wrestled in a lot of cool. There was a poster the other day. Me and Razor Ramon wrestled in Jerusalem the day before Easter Sunday. We've wrestled at quite a few places. So. I can't really think of a venue that I'd like to work in. I'm sure they're out there, but the newer buildings would be the short answer.
Going to our super chat, Dwayne Guzman said, Jeff, I was wondering if you'll be at the AEW Asheville, North Carolina show January 1st. I lost my home because of the hurricane. I'm looking forward to having fun at the show. Well, Dwayne, we send our thoughts and prayers to you, brother, and I hope you are back a little bit on the right track, and appreciate you joining us.
Dwayne, I'm going to echo Casio's thoughts. Sincere thoughts and prayers. And, East Tennessee, there were some places that got hit hard, but man, you folks have had a rough go. And I know there's a greater plan that none of us are really aware of, but man, straight up tragedy. So I could not be happier to hear you chiming in here tonight. Thank you, sir. And I plan to be there in Asheville on New Year's Day. You damn right. It's pretty cool that it's falling on a Wednesday. So looking forward to, I just say that I cannot wait to be in Asheville on January 1st.
Nice. All right, let me see. Basketball and wrestling question, says Tony Shuck. If you had to play a pickup game of basketball with 4 of the wrestlers on their team, Who are the 4 and what position are they playing?
I got to pick 4 wrestlers.
You're playing basketball.
I'm going to go Satnam Singh.
That's a great one to start with.
I'm going to go 5.
Boy, that's a big 5.
Well, I'm going to go. It depends on if we're playing kind of like if we got to run up down the court, I'm going to have to limit my man Kevin Nash's reps, but he's got,
Let's go prime. Let's go in their prime.
Oh, without question.
Okay. Boy, you got the Twin Towers down there, man.
Ain't kidding. I'm going to go. Yes. I'm going to go that. And then off the top of my head, and a lot of folks don't realize this, but in their prime, I'm sure I could probably think of, look, and you can't count Karl Malone or the people that have just kind of moonlighted. I want to just say straight up wrestlers, but in their prime, boy, what a starting 5 this would be. I'll run point, and you got Ron and Don Harris. I'm going to make Donnie 2, Ronnie 3, 6'7" twins, Kevin Nash, Satnam Singh. That's our starting 5.
Well, boy, you're lacking on speed, but boy, do you have the size.
Buddy, just give me the ball and I'll
you'll get it to who needs it.
Satnam is a lot faster than Kevin Nash in his prime was a lot. Ronnie and Donnie, what are you talking about? They were beam poles. They were
that's true. I'm thinking about the prime. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. What a lineup that is, son.
Rosie, we would take old Sunny Side up. We'd take Sunnyvale down in a minute. So
all right, let's see what else we got in here. We got multiple questions about this, so I'll get one of them in, and it'll cover most of them. Chris said, with the move over to Netflix and the closing down of the WWE Network, what do you think WWE will do with the archives, given that they have announced only some content will be going to Netflix? Would be a great shame for this footage to disappear into the abyss.
It'll never disappear. And I've got a strong feeling that off the top of my, not at the top of my head, because I've kind of given this thought that we kind of look at it. But when you say, hey, man, go to the network, there's so much content there. It's like almost overload that, me, you, and others, what we'll call it of this generation, we don't even really know. Well, we do, but there's some folks that don't even really know where to start. And I'll see, I'll see kids in autograph lines often that know more about my career than I do currently, but because they'll start on episode whatever and watch WCW and all this. But I think in the foreseeable future, I think you're going to see a strategic rollout, and they're going to have, we'll call it the Nitro match of the day, boom, on YouTube at 5 p.m. And then it's a little 20-minute bite. So I think you're going to see the bear, if you will, be fed in multiple areas, but that's all going to be monetization, because that network is just going to be, I think he said, slip into the abyss. There's zero chance of that. They're privately held or headed that way, and they will be looking to monetize that library any way they can, and they will.
All right, let's see what we got. George Jones. I hope it's the George Jones. He says,
I do too. I'd like to talk to him about how things are going.
He says, what was your first reaction when you first joined WCW back in the late 90s, and how different did it feel to the Memphis locker room and the WWE locker room?
Well, and I've gone into great detail. I know we're getting up on close to the hour, but maybe culture shock is probably too strong a word, but I was shocked because, to put it in simplistic terms, I had broke into the business in '86, and before that, I'd been around the family business and understood when you walk into an arena, okay, whether it was my dad the boss, my grandmother the boss, or my dad or my grandfather the boss, the promoter was the boss, and then the tip-top boss was obviously my father. He owned the promotion. When you went to the WWF in '93, look, you have, agents is what they were called in that time, and then you had kind of a TV boss. But there was zero dispute that Vince was the boss. The buck stopped with him. Like it, love it, hate it, whatever. His answer was final, and you had no ifs, ands, or but that. after I was at WCW, about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, conceptually, I understood that, okay, Eric's running this thing, but man, it sure seems like Kevin Sullivan kind of has the ultimate say over in creative. But no, that can't be right because Hogan has creative control. Wait, so then Hogan, wait a minute. Sting's got himself into a good spot. You could just kind of tell that the dynamic was politically supercharged, and it just wasn't any one person where the buck stopped. And that to this day was the glaring difference. And I think ultimately that is the single reason or the number one reason why Vince ultimately bought his competition, because of the infrastructure of both organizations.
If you need a break from the crowded stores and endless gift list, restore your zen and embrace the natural power of hemp this holiday season with Via. This holiday season, unwind and recharge with Via, whether you're enjoying a quiet evening at home or embracing the festive cheers. Via's premium THC and THC-free gummies will help you find your perfect holiday balance. So if you are 21 and up, check out our link to Via's website, link in our description, and use code MyWorld for 15% off. You can unlock the power of nature with Via's organic and vegan hemp extracts, perfect for relaxation and rejuvenation. Via is the only lifestyle hemp brand. They use compounds found in hemp along with the active plant extracts to create products, each with a specific effect in mind. Whether you want to get better sleep, ease anxiety, enhance your mood, or just get high, they have something for you. They're industry leader, over 500,000 customers served, farmed and crafted with care here in the United States, and award-winning service. You can experience their top-notch customer support as well. This holiday season, gift yourself some peace of mind. If you're 21 and up, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code MyWorld to receive 15% off. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them My World sent you. This holiday season, enhance your everyday with Via. Affordable and accessible premium products that fit your budget. And we thank Via for sponsoring My World.
How about you, Bow? How about you?
How about it? We're going to get these super chats in the YouTube, and we're going to wrap this up. How about it, Jeff? Are you ready?
You're driving the car tonight. Oh, Conrad, he popped in. Hey, did you see how conveniently? Oh, I got a back to go. Oh, that's a bunch of BS. He knew we were loaded for bear on the Alabama.
Yeah, he was ready to get out of there before he caught some shrapnel for sure.
Exactly.
I want to go to this question just because it's my favorite name in the chat. Cole Sloth.
Okay.
Like coleslaw, but sloth,
yeah,
the animal. Did you ever have a moment where you were creating too much heat and was afraid of the crowd? What a great picture of coleslaw there. Okay.
Oh, coleslaw. I love it. I love the image there. That's great. But no, the short answer is coleslaw. Absolutely. Specifically multiple times in Mexico. Let me think on this, because there was a time in Puerto Rico, and I know there's some footage of this, that we did a deal and I've covered Mexico. In Mexico, I would throw tortillas and you'd have to kind of feel it. But there were a couple of times in Mexico when I would go, okay, this is not the safest environment. They would start throwing stuff and all that. Dutchman Tales got a legendary story, but the one that just popped in my brain that was like, it kind of came out of nowhere. Wrestled Ray Gonzalez in Puerto Rico for the NWA title. They built it up that Ray, which is, this isn't my phrase, it's others. He's the Ric Flair of the island. Great talker, great worker. And we built it up, and we did a deal. And my old man, Jeremy Borash, we needed a quote unquote NWA referee to come in and do a final count after the Puerto Rican referee. And we had worked at all that, but we did a count. And Casio, when I tell you, the people came up so quick that it caught a lot of folks, and I'm talking about their security. It caught a lot of folks like, oh boy. Yeah, that was a real heat-driven finish. Tell you what.
What do you mean they came up so quick?
Started throwing stuff, and I want to ask you on this.
It went from 0 to 100 quick.
Like, yeah, lightning speed. And also, so when I've always wanted to pick your brain on this. Like, because I've been taught and teachable and coachable and had a lot of reps going fallbacks here, but I have, and Lawler and others, old timers, Dutch was probably my biggest teacher, but about listening to a crowd. You can hear, some people say, oh, that's a cheer or a boo. If you really have a trained ear, like Toby and other musicians, like, you can really hear something really good. You kind of know, okay, that's what the crowd's telling us. They came up in a, it's about to get violent in here real quick kind of deal. And you kind of have to know body language, and you got to know that, all right, either I need to leave or you need to do something to take the pressure off. And that's, as a heel, either get beat up or something. You got to be quick thinking on how to really navigate your way through it. There's 1,000 different scenarios in a way to do that. In comedy, can you tell the difference between on reactions like, hey, that was kind of a complimentary haha, or they're really selling it, or that joke got over a great, or right? Can you?
Yeah, you can. I mean, and some, this is all down the road when you're, I assume like wrestling as well, when you're comfortable enough to be analyzing that instead of in your head and going, what am I doing next?
Yeah.
You start doing floaters, tester jokes. If they groan at this, we're not going past that line. Or you can tell a joke and you go, there's some jokes at the beginning of my set, some real quick ones where I go, if they're not laughing at that, we're going to be fighting all night. Cause that usually just gets most of the crowd, haha, and let's move on. You definitely have to go with the crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, you can stand up there and plow through, but if you want to be comfortable in it, you got to go. I think that's part of the challenge is I lost him at that one for whatever reason. How do I get him back? And you're in your head, you're figuring, why did I lose him? Did I say something wrong? I know, especially if it's something works, you're like, I know that works. And how can I get us out of here? And then on a show wise, it's kind of like you said, you always have something at the end where you're like, I'm going to do this and get out of here. And just, if we need to bail, I'm going to bail on this good note, and it's going to wrap it up nicely and we can finish the show. But yeah, you definitely, I mean, that's the next step in comedy is you get to a point where you go, now I can analyze the crowd. I'm not just delivering it, I'm pausing for laugh, whether it's there or not, and then moving on to the next deal. It's gauging them. Why are they not into this? Is there something going on in the crowd? Is there something?
Yeah.
So definitely being able to pay attention to body language, and I guess not heat wise, but I don't know how it is in the wrestling world. I think you got too much going on, but in the comedy world, when you're stand-up comedy, when you are on stage looking at everyone in front of you, I think human nature is, for some reason, your eyes gravitate towards the dude that's got his arms crossed halfway back. If there's 100 people in the crowd and 99 of them are legit about to pee their pants, as a performer, I'll go, what's that guy got his arms crossed? And then you want to just pop him. If I can just pop him, and you'll go back and you'll be like, did you see that guy? And they'll go, dude, you had a great set. And you're like, that dude had his arm crossed.
So my dad would get young baby faces coming through the curtain because they'd go out to the ring. They would be, doing their rock and roll express, good high spot. And there'd be one guy, literally one guy. This happened all the time in little small country town spot shows. It's the tough guy in town that doesn't like it that these wrestlers are coming in town and making him look small or whatever it is. And sure enough, that guy would high spot. And they would, he'd scream out, "Hey, you little wimp!" Go to the gym or whatever. Yell at the babyface. The babyface, I used to chuck it. They'd turn around and single that guy out and say, "Hey, you start dropping F-bombs. Get your ass up in here, blah, 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 blah." Of course, the guy's not going to fight. He's scared to death. But the whole match changed. It's a crappy match from here on. They finish, come through. The guy comes through the curtain. He's pissed off, blah, blah, blah. And my dad would go over to and light his ass up. He's like, "You literally gave one guy attention." They call that rabbit ears. Don't have rabbit ears.
Rabbit ears.
Don't let one guy ruin it for everybody. Anyway,
it happens all the time in comedy.
I'm picking your brain. I love this. All right.
Some lady on her phone while you're just pouring your heart out, and you go, take a breath,
lady.
Yeah, I should look over to this side of the whole room laughing, but I just go, look at that damn phone. Put your damn phone up. What am I not doing? I'm chasing my dreams up here.
I love it.
All right, here we go. Let's do just a couple more. We'll wrap this up. Ty Claude hits in the super chat. Want to thank him for that. He said, "Did Jerry Lawler ever produce or help you with a promo?"
Ty, I can't tell you how many times he did. And it's a completely different I'm doing a bunch of callbacks for you, Casio. The unsolicited advice is criticism. Look, because Lawler, man, look, my dad had a different style promo, and I wasn't the biggest fan of that because it was just kind of a different style. Lawler promos, I loved them. Bill Dundee promos, I loved them. But when Lawler would give me, and I'm talking about 87, 88, 89, 90, like really my early years, he would, man, he had patience with me, but he would really help me out. So yes, he would give me little one-liners like, "Hey man," he wouldn't say this, but he'd say like, "Less is more." Like, you don't have to say a lot, Jeff, but when you start into just say what you're going to say and mean it and leave. Don't throw it, just little tidbits. So yes, Ty, Lawler, I still, and I know I'm biased, but as far as quote unquote drawing money promos, and everybody's probably going to put Dusty in there and others, but man, when it really came down to it, I don't think Jerry had a peer. Austin Idol was great, but Jerry could do it week after week after week and give you a story in 2.5, 3 minutes. And by the time he got done, you said, "I want to go see the King kick ass." He's just phenomenal promo.
Incredible. Before we get out of here and wrap this thing up, we want to take time to thank our sponsors, Via, Mando, and Stopbox for taking care of us this episode. And if you're out there and you have a business that targets 25 to 54-year-old men, there is no better place to advertise than right here with us on My World. You've heard us do ads today. You've heard Conrad and Jeff do the ads. Some of them for the same companies for years. Why is that? Because it works. And with our super targeted audience, there's very little waste. Go to advertisewithjarrett.com right now to find out more about advertising with My World. And I'll just say, it doesn't matter if it's a product, an event, whatever the case may be, at least check it out. See if we can help you get the word out. Go to advertisewithjarrett.com. That's JARRETT right there. Advertisewithjarrett.com and find out more. Also, before you get out of here, like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star rating on all platforms. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, @RealJeffJarrett, @Hey, it's Conrad. Send your CloneRad hate messages to @the Casio Kid, and follow us here on YouTube. We appreciate y'all joining us in the live chat. Make sure you like and subscribe and turn on notifications at myworldpod.com. That way you won't miss any of our live shows here. Plus, you want to be looking good? You want to be looking great? All merchandise is found at shopdoublej.com, including the recently released The American Dweem t-shirt, The Last Outlaw, Deathmatch King, and of course, The Chosen Son of a Promoter. It's all there at shopdoublej.com. Get it now for the holidays. Boom. You'll be looking right. You'll be smelling right with that Mando. Everything's gonna be great for you.
Hey, before we get out of here, last question down at the bottom. Ian, my man, Dice Man Clay, you see that? I'll let you read it. You see it at the bottom of the
Okay. E. Andrew Dice Clay, as I like to call him. I don't know if that's it or not. But did Jeff think in November 94 that me or Owen would have been better suited to win the WWF title instead of Bob Backlund? You were the type of heels that wouldn't have been damaged losing to Diesel.
So we just covered this and talked, all this. But, man, I watched a clip, Dice Man. And I can't say, I'd love to say back then that I maybe thought of it, but as I kind of watched that, and Owen, when you watch it back and you understand this, but it made me do a think back that my dad was a huge fan of the Bret Owen, and he was a part of that story, behind the scenes, the booking and the creative of it and all that. Again, Vince's boss, I don't want to mislead anybody, but as I was sitting there watching that, and look, I was, got IC champion, and then the whole Bob Backlund and that project or whatever it was. And so Kevin wanted to work with me, and I was IC champ and put him over around the horn January, February, March up to Mania. But all that being said, I think at the time you have to just kind of look at the whole scenario and the old hypothetically, Conrad, what if, can you imagine during that time if Owen would have become the champion? Just, I can't tell you if you play that out from 94, 95. Well, Bret Owen was Mania. Yeah, if I'm doing that right, Mania 94, SummerSlam. Well, just that time frame, how both of their careers, and I'm going to say Bret's too, because I think Owen becoming champion, he's going to drop it to somebody. You almost go, yeah, hell yeah, he's going to drop it back to Bret. I just think there would have been some logic, but that's one of those things that I guess the joys and pleasure of doing my world and kind of get to reminisce or maybe romance that kind of thinking. But I certainly wasn't the heel. But I did go around the horn putting Kevin over, but I was IC champ. But had Owen been that opportunity to become champion, I just got to think just what a completely different road a lot of folks would have had. That is I guess you can say it's fun to me. It's fun for me to sit here and reminisce about my friend and think about that what if. So I appreciate you, dude, asking that. That's a good way to close it out here.
Great question. Yeah, it's fast. That would have been a huge ripple effect everywhere.
Yeah.
Just changed a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Great question, man. Great questions all around. Appreciate y'all joining us, sending them in, joining us in the live chat. Thank y'all for bearing with us and letting me sit in for Conrad Thompson today. I did my best Clone Rat impression.
Sure did. You did mighty fine work today, pal. We had a lot of fun here today. Connie will be back next week taking ass whooping. Your man Dave Silva will be 2-finger testing all week long. I appreciate you, man.
Silva, if you want to run some takes, and kind of dial it down of your 2-finger test, send them to me. You got my number. Text them to me. I'll give you some pointers on how that's going. I want to make sure it's the best when he puts his best 2 fingers forward and shows y'all.
I need to eat right now.
Thanks, Silva. Thank you, Double J, for letting me sit in. Always a pleasure to catch up with you and have some fun with you and pick your brain. And thanks everybody for joining us, for listening, for downloading, for liking, subscribing, sending questions, watching us live. For the champ, the Hall of Famer, the best in the world, the real Double J. I am your co-host, Clone Rad Thompson Casio. Till next time, everybody. You've been listening to My World with Jeff Jarrett.
Peace, peace, peace.